This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to Wanna Bet on Detroit Sports Podcast Network, the gambling show. I am your host, as always, Shay Norling, and I have to tell you about our good friends over at mybookie.ag, who are giving you an awesome opportunity to double your investment when you sign up. At mybookie.ag, you will be able to bet on anything that is coming up, whether it is the Belmont Stakes that are occurring very soon, whether it's the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, the the Open Championship. The PGA Championship already happened. Whatever event it might be, you can find odds to play at mybookie.ag, and we are offering you a chance to double your sign-up bonus. When you sign up, use promo code DSP. That is DSP for Detroit Sports Podcast, because we're so clever. And you are going to get a 50% bonus on your sign up. If you deposit $100, we're giving you $50, $1,500. If you deposit $2,000, we will give you $1,000 totally free. That's free money. Free money. It makes no sense not to sign up. If you want to gamble on any of the upcoming sporting events, do it at mybookie.ag, where you will get paid fast. I'm talking 48 hours tops. You will get paid. Go to mybookie.com/ag. Go to mybookie.ag. I don't know what I was just thinking. Go to mybookie.ag. Use promo code DSP when you sign up, and you will have an opportunity to play all of these events with some free money. All right, let's get into it. A little bit of an abbreviated show. I might get into the Belmont, but I'm not a huge horse racing guy. I think I've explained in the past. So I've done a little bit of research. I got a little short preview, but I don't have much for it. But I do have the NBA Finals Game 3, and that's where I want to start. This is one of the weirdest NBA Finals games that I have seen in the last 5 years. And the reason being is because the spread of tickets are favoring the Raptors. Only 35% of betting tickets as of Tuesday evening are going towards the Warriors in Game 3. Since Steve Kerr has been the coach, the Warriors have closed with under 50% of betting tickets 18 times in the playoffs. I talked about this about a week ago. They are 18-0 straight up and 15-3 against the spread in those spots, covering by 8.6 points per game when they are receiving less than 50%. I don't think they have ever received less than 40%. They trailed at the half both games 1 and 2, and I think the Raptors have played this team extremely well. I talked about it on the mashup. The Raptors have only lost the third quarter in each of the first 2 games. They've won every other quarter in the series. They're outscoring the Warriors in the series. Kawhi dealing with a quad injury, but he's still playing well. Fred VanVleet's still playing well. If Danny Green can start to shoot a little bit better, if Marc Gasol can find some play, and really, if Kyle Lowry can just arrive to the series, just show up to the finals, they would be in much, much better shape. And I think that those things could happen. I know it's tough going to Oracle. It's tough going on the road. But I do think that, look, the Warriors are not the same Warriors. And injury is going to start playing a role here because Kevin Looney's out. Kevin Durant's out. We don't know if Klay Thompson's going to play. I'm sure he will. DeMarcus Cousins will get however many minutes he can take, but he's not really an impact on the floor. In fact, he might be a detriment. And so that's kind of my worry when we talk Warriors and the injuries that they have piling up. I mean, their injuries are longer than a CVS receipt. It's like a biblical tome that you have to comb through when you look at the Warriors injury report. It's hospital Celtics-esque. Like, these are the hospital Warriors. And the Raptors, well, everybody's banged up this time of year. That's true. The Raptors are banged up. They're not this banged up. They're not this damaged. The Warriors are almost broken. I mean, they're nearing sending Steph Curry out there alone. And if that's the case, they just don't have a shot. Kawhi switches onto Steph. Kawhi picks up Steph full court, things like that. The Warriors don't have a shot to win those games. I've said if Kevin Durant doesn't play, I'm picking the Raptors in 6. I've continued to pick the Raptors in 6. I've held that. It was plus 950 odds that the Raptors would win in 6. I believe the Raptors can win this series in 6 games. If Klay doesn't play, the rotations are going to get very interesting and very short because the depth just isn't there. Now, I do think Klay plays, but even if he's 70% Klay, 50% Klay, if he's not full-strength Klay, that also has to go advantage Raptors because Danny Green won't have to exert quite so much to guard him if Kawhi is going on Curry, which he has to. The only thing I need from the Raptors is to actually convert your wide open shots because they just haven't been able to. It hasn't been a problem for them. Game 2, the Warriors went on a 6-minute scoring drought. During that drought, the Raptors created nothing but wide open threes. They couldn't hit any of them until Danny Green hit a clutch 3 with like 20 seconds left that ended up, or 30 seconds left, whatever it was, that ended up being negated by Andre Iguodala's dagger. But if they can manage to hit wide open threes, of all postseason teams this year, the Raptors are second in generating wide open attempts, but are just 8th in actually converting them among all 16 teams in effective field goal percentage on those attempts. They generate more than 20 wide open threes per game, but are just 6th in percentage. They just have to hit open threes. If they can, and I'm not expecting it to suddenly get better, but if they can, that'll spell trouble for the Warriors. The line moving has been interesting. And I think there's merit in maybe live betting this game. But the line opened at Warriors -6. When Kevin Durant got ruled out, it came down to 5.5. It's dropped to 5. It's gotten as low as 4.5. Most places have it stabled out at about 5 right now. I like Toronto +5. But I do think there is definitely a lot to think about live betting this game. The reason I think that is I think the number is going to move a lot. Because Raptors +4.5 is a great line. I think I would play Raptors +4.5. I'd play Raptors anywhere down to about 2.5 points. And then I'd start looking at the Warriors, especially if the money stays the same. Because again, historically, when the money and the bets fall on the opposite side of the Warriors win those games. And especially in the playoffs recently, it has been a very good idea to fade the public, especially on totals, which is the interesting thing about this game to me is that as much as the line has moved, the over-under hasn't moved at all. The total has stayed put at 213. So they're expecting the game to be played closer, but in the same region, despite the fact Kevin Durant isn't going to play. I do kind of wonder if the over is where you want to go with this. 213, I don't know that this game is necessarily going to be played in the low 100s. I don't know that it's going to be played in the 110s. It feels like a coin flip to me, which is kind of the way the over-under is supposed to be. Again, it's wise to fade the public on totals, though. And that, to me, if you fade the public, I have to figure out where the public is. But fading the public on totals in this postseason, 92, 64, and 3. It's 59% win percentage. $1,000 bettors are up $2,300. So I think there is a ton of value if you watch the game and you're watching the game early and you want to get some live bets in, because they're always being updated by computers. They're always being updated every second. That means it's accounting for the entirety of the game flow. So maybe if it comes out and Klay looks like he's really struggling, you could find a line that'll put something better on the Raptors than what you have. I do think there's value in betting Raptors money line on this as well. The way that the Warriors are hurt and how hurt they are, it concerns me. And that's kind of where I'm at with the rest of this series. If the Warriors continue to be this injured, if Kevin Durant continues to not play, if Klay Thompson is sub 100%, and I'm starting to think Kevin Durant's just not going to play in this series. But if this is how this series progresses, I'm very much in favor of betting Toronto until they lose, or just betting Toronto all the way through. Because I think they win this series in 6 games. I think they close out 3 of the next 4 games. I just feel that way. They're that good of a team. I think they win tonight. I think they have a chance to win Friday, Saturday, whenever the next game is. I think it's Friday. So I do think that they can go back to Toronto up 3-1 with a very commanding lead, with a chance to win in 5. I think it needs 6, but it feels like the Raptors are meant to win this series with the number of injuries that have occurred, with all of the things that have come together for this team in a negative way. It just, to me, feels like if there were any time for you to be picking in favor of, or against the Warriors, this would be the time. That's most of what I have for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That's most of what I have for just the NBA Finals in general is, look, just bet the Raptors. And if I would touch on the Stanley Cup. I don't know hockey as well, but I'm fairly confident. I've been betting Boston. Boston versus St. Louis. Boston always seems to win. This series seems a little different because St. Louis was able to even the series out, but that 7-2 game said a lot. And so, I think bet Boston for the Stanley Cup. And then again, for the NBA Finals, I love Toronto. I love the look of Toronto, especially going up against this kind of broken, damaged team in the Golden State Warriors. And so that's where I stand with that. As for Belmont, I was thinking about putting a preview in here, but really I just haven't watched enough. So I haven't paid enough attention. I've done the research, but I'm just being honest. I'm not a horse racing person. So if you wanted to come to me for horse racing, probably in your best bet to not do so. With that said, if you have any mailbag questions in the next coming weeks, I want to get into Major League Baseball. I want to get into some real trends as far as betting Major League Baseball. I have plenty of thoughts on free agency if you're into betting that, which has been... There's some value in betting free agency in the NBA, I believe. And so I have some things coming for that. If you have any questions, feel free. Reach out to me on Twitter, @NorlingShay. Reach out to me via email, SHEAN224 @gmail.com. Any of those available outreaches, feel free. And again, remember, mybookie.ag, our good friends over there, we will give you a 50% sign-up bonus when you sign up. Really exciting if you want to get over there and get some free money to place your bets. So remember, Raptors tonight, Game 3, Raptors plus 4.5 will pay. I would be shocked if it doesn't. And the rest of the series, I'm looking at Raptors against the spread. I do think that the Raptors have a chance to sweep against the spread the rest of the way, especially if Kevin Durant doesn't play. If KD plays, it changes everything. If Kevin Durant plays, the Warriors are winning this series. He's the cheat code. It will force Kawhi not to play on Steph Curry. And if that's what happens, if Kawhi can't check Steph Curry, if Kawhi has to check Kevin Durant, and all of a sudden Steph Curry is getting switches onto guys like Kyle Lowry, that's going to spell trouble for the Raptors. But right now I'm very comfortable with Kevin Durant not playing, with my belief that Kevin Durant will not play. I am very comfortable betting the Raptors to sweep against the spread the rest of this series. So thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with some more baseball stuff for you guys, and hopefully the finals will be over by then, and it might be Game 7. We'll see. But I look forward to next week. Thanks.